PHP and Ruby application. And so today we will talk about image casing. So first of all, today I want to talk about the memory casing, not the disk. So there is two ways to do image casing in Android. The first is the memory casing. The second is the disk casing. So actually the disk is very easy. So you only write to the disk and read them again. So it's only make it easier not to download the file again from the internet. But the memory casing is actually stored to the memory, so you can call it faster. But there is something you need to consider. But first of all, so since API 12, Android SDK provides LRU kits, and now also available from the support library. Last time Anthony made a presentation about the support library too. So the LRU kits is kits using the LRU algorithm. So LRU algorithm is the least recently used algorithm. So for example, it's like there are so many images, and it will keep tracking which image is the last used. So it will move to the top again, and when the stack is full, the list use will be dismissed. And then what to consider? First of all, the screen size. So Android device recently the screen size is become bigger and bigger. For example, today Frank bring the Samsung Galaxy S5, Note S3, and the Nexus 5, right? There are so many fragmentation in Android, but I think recently it become more and more unified. Like when I first developed Android is 2 years ago, and there are so many devices that is small and so many devices that very big. It's more difficult to manage the memory, so now it's better. And how many images do you want to display in one screen? And you need to manage. You don't take all the image from the network and then display it all. And how often the image will be accessed. So, for example, sometimes I book SNS application, and there is some picture that we need to access, like the default picture. Like sometimes, like Facebook, if we did not set the profile picture, there is a default picture, right? And something like that, I think we need to separate the case. Like we will set several cases, one for the most often access image, and another one is for another image. Like when you access Facebook, there is many photo, like the user photo, it will be stored in this, and the default image in here. And then the quality versus quantity. Which one will you prefer, the big resolution image or small image? I think it's better to take the quantity one, because for the quality we can reload it again in the background thread. So maybe the user is expecting the bigger image, the longer it will take to load. And then about the quantity, I think the user will expecting the small image will be loading faster. And then other memory usage. The memory usage is not only for image, right? So there are many other usage like sounds, video or something we need to consider. Okay, that's all for the first case. About image casing, so I made a demo. Here is one. It's missing. Okay. So this is the memory. Android developer. So this is the demo. So first of all, this will display an image from the internet. I only use the URL. And first time you see there is a loading, right? And then the second time you access, there will be no loading because it access directly from the memory. And then the second type is put, it will be loading too. And then once you back again to tower, there will be no loading because the memory is still stored in the memory. The image still is stored in there. And the third tab is the print. It will be loading again. And after all images is loaded, there will be no loading again. So this is the file. Yes. So this is the LRU kits I talked before. So how to store is using the key value pair. So this time I'm using string and bitmap. So the key value and the key will be the URL and the value will be the bitmap. And then I'm getting the maximum memory of the runtime, and then I'm using I divide it with 8. Actually this is not a fixed number, it's up to you. But I think 8 is the best from my experience. And then yeah, that's all. This is the constructor, and then this is the setter and the getter, and this is if you want to clear manual, but it's not really recommended to do it. So before Android SDK provide the RRU kits, in the past I used to use the soft and weak reference. Is there anybody here ever tried to use the soft or weak reference? And do you use it for image casing or not? Yeah. I think maybe it's better to use RRU kits because from my experience before with using soft and weak reference, the garbage collector starting from the honeycomb, if I'm not mistaken, it's become more aggressive. So the soft and weak reference will get deleted faster and faster. And in KitKat, the garbage collection also become more aggressive. I don't know why, but that's what I read in the internet about the KitKat. Until now, I haven't get any chance to develop in KitKat because my company usually set the standard. Now it's 4.0, but before 2.3, so I was testing 2.3. Okay, maybe that's all for the image casing. Is there any question about image casing? Yes, Owen.
Easy to use file pattern. So rather than you use a URL, you simply swap for a file path.
A file path, yes, you can also use that. So this example is for downloading from the internet. So for the value, for the key, you can use everything. It's actually this is like a normal hash map, but with some additional algorithm to already.
So LRU cache is part of the Android.
Yeah, from the now is the part of the Android, starting from the API core. But now you can also access it from the Android support library. So you can support it from the fork.
Get runtime max memory, like does that measure in bytes or?
Yeah.
Bytes, and then you
In bytes.
10, 24, and
Yeah.
divide again by 8, and that's like, and max cache size is then like how many bytes you are LRU cache.
Yeah.
So So if an
Because-
image it doesn't have enough, if the cache doesn't have enough space for the image, it'll bump up
The last is, not the last is the.
the furthest
Yeah.
one that.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's basically like the stack algorithm, but it will auto range.
So the size of is basically you have to tell the LLU cache how
Yes.
big your object is in memory, so you're taking the width by the height.
Yes.
From every robot, and robot to divided by k.
Yes.
K megabytes. Okay, so it doesn't know itself how big the objects are, you have to tell it.
Yeah, because for now our kids cannot determine by themselves
Yeah.
how much memory they should allocate.
And things like time to live and stuff is probably coming.
Yeah.
later.
And yeah, I think it's better if we set it by ourselves because we never know when the garbage collector will collect the garbage.
For every activity, new activity, you will create a new instance of this memory cache.
So actually, I'm creating a new class for image loader, and then I'm creating a static reference to that class, but not static object. Yeah, static object inside the image loader. I create a new the new image loader class to load the image. Okay, is there any other question?
Do you suggest using memory cache and disk cache together?
Yes, for performance, I think if you don't really, especially if you are creating a heavily based image application, like there are so many gallery and something like that, I think you should use cache because there will it will be annoy the user if there is a loading every time the user open the page. But you also need to reconsider this because even though the memory size of the Android application is growing higher and higher, but the screen resolution is also growing higher and higher. Like the Sony Experience Z1, the memory size is about 2 megabytes, but it's not really the heap size. So after this, I will talk about the heap and stuff. And then the screen size and the camera size of the Sony Express Z1 also big. If I'm not mistaken, the camera resolution is about 20 megapixels. So it's also pretty nice. Okay, so let's move to the next. Okay, next is stack and heap. Maybe from the start of learning programming, we often heard of stack and heap. And the stack and heap is a type of memory allocation, not only in Java but also in C, C++, and other languages. And stack memory stores local variables, and heap memory stores object in Java. And stack size is much smaller than heap size. So if you get your stack full, there will be stack overflow error. And for the heap, the GVM will throw the out of memory error. I think this is not so usual. This is like quite unusual because is there anybody here using a function recursively? now. So usually if people use the function recursively and the start become, because when a function call, the memory will be stored in the start. So if the logic is wrong, there will be start of error. And about the out of memory error, it's the heap doesn't have any other space to store the object. And its other thread in Java have their own stack, but shares same heap. So if you create object in one thread in the UI thread and you create another object in another thread, it will share the same heap. And this is for the heap and garbage collection. So now I will talk about the heap. So Java is not like C or C++, so we don't need to deallocate the memory by ourselves, but the garbage collection will do the process, but it's not a really good thing because we also don't have any control of it. So is there anybody here now the algorithm of the garbage collector? Yeah, so it starts from the GC roots, right? So it will search the non-reachable object like in the top. The non-reachable object will be deleted, and then the reachable object will be kept. But sometimes there is something like memory leak, but it's not really a memory leak, but one unused object still holding reference to another object, so it still counts as the reachable object. And then this is the example of the tree, but this is not how to calculate. How to calculate is we will using the dominator tree. So there is no. So may I use this? So there is two types of heap. First is shell heap. And the second is the retain heap. I'm sorry, my writing is not very good. And the shell heap is only the so shallow heap consists of only the heap of the object itself. So, for example, the heap of the shallow heap of the one is only one, shallow heap of two is two, three is three, four. But the retain heap is the heap of the how much memory will be released if that object is free. So, for example, if we release the number 3, another people, another heap can still live. So the retain heap of number 3 is only 3 because this heap is only holding, doesn't holding any reference to another place. And if we 4 is only 4, 2 also 2 because if we release 2, the 4 still can be accessed to all 3. But if we release 1, it will be all of this will be released. So the retain heap of 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there any question about about the heap and the data collection. And then for analyzing heap, we will using Eclipse M80. Is there anybody here using Eclipse M80? Is that Anthony? So actually Eclipse M80 is memory analyzer tool. So it's an Eclipse plugin that can also use for standalone tool. So this tool will analyze the H4 and find the lead suspect and show the data based on the shallow heap and the right-hand heap. And we can also show the dominator tree and the histogram version of the report. So I will show you the. This is my phone. So I guess everyone now holding a static for non-static inner class is not good because it will make the class still alive in the memory. So I create a new object of non-static inner class in here. So this activity will still be alive in the memory even though I finish it. So it will be start from here. Okay, so this is very simple application, so only max. Nothing to see over there. So we going 1 and 2 and 3, and then we can have to switch the view to the DDMS and find this, and then dump the H prop. After you install the Eclipse M80, this window, this pop-up will show, and you can see the leak suspect or component report, and this is the order report. And it will generate a default report, but this is not really healthy because like Java Lang class, Android graphics, Java Lang string, this is not something that we can modify or rebuild. So we will switch to the dominator tree and the histogram. So in the dominator tree, we can also do some stuff with the rejects, like the name of the package is starting from Niko. So there is something strange here because I already finished the activity, but there is 3 of leak activity here in here. To know how we can use the path to GC routes and exclude the weak and soft reference because weak and soft reference is not very needed to find the memory leak cause. And then we can find this. The reason why the object is still there is it holding reference to the bad object because it's a static object holding it's a static object from a non-static inner class. So this is only a simple demo, but actually you can also use M80 for debugging. I think many of us ever encounter the out of memory error, like maybe of Java developer encounter. And I think this tool is very useful. And we can also see from the histogram. From the histogram, we can also see directly the objects directly. But sometimes, like this object is already finalized. I think, like this will be finalized. Yeah, you can try to download M80 if you have some out of memory. Is there any question about the Eclipse M80? Or Anthony, do you have any addition?
So for anyone using Android Studio, you can also use the standalone version.
Ah, Android Studio. yeah.
So there's no integration with Android Studio, but you can just dump the memory and then open it in the standalone version of Eclipse.
But maybe we need to convert, right?
You can convert it for you.
Yeah, convert to the standard Expo.
Oh.
And maybe I want to do a little survey. Who's using Android Studio? 4. Who's still using Eclipse? you use what? 4. I see. Okay, maybe that's all for now. Is there any addition or is there any other question?
Your last question about you just recommended about different versions and what do you think is better?
I think Android Studio will be better. Because it's based on IntelliJ IDEA. I like IntelliJ IDEA very much. It's much more faster and the what is called content assistance is more better and it's better.
You think there's benefits to the other?
To what?
You think there's better benefits or for the other operating system?
About the operating system?
You said about the two versions. You said about the Android Studio.
Android Studio and Eclipse, right? It's about ID.
Yeah, but the Eclipse there's some benefit to that.
Yeah. For now, because the build in the Anthony, the build in the Android Studio using Gradle, right? Yeah, it's quite different between the Gradle build and the Eclipse build. And
Why do you think people choose between the two?
maybe gradually people will switch to Android Studio because it's officially supported by the Android, right?
There are a lot of problems with the Android Studio. It's not stable as of now.
Yeah.
But it has like amazing features if it gets stable. I remember like if you have to like build for multiple let's say environments for production or for development, you need to change the code inside Eclipse for now, like change the package name or things like that. Gradle has amazing features related to that. You can build like production-based application, development-based application, ProCard-based application. You can build multiple variants with different package names, so you don't have to delete your application inside the device.
Yeah.
It has amazing features.
So you don't need to. So usually for development, people use development server, and this is very simple example. Development server and production server. The URL usually different, right? But now in Eclipse we have to change it manually. But if we use Android Studio, it will be we only need to change the build type.
Build version.
Yeah.
Build variant.
Actually, it's already built in the Xcode, but it's for iOS development.
As far as I see it, there's going to be no choice.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment they're not up to version 1.0 of Android Studio.
Yeah,
Once it gets to that far, which is probably
What
with
was it?
iOS.
Yeah.
this year, I
Zero
imagine.
point
I expect that in IO this time.
Yeah, I expected the IO, Google I/O this year that presented as final 1.0. From that point, I think they will start, or I guess they will start not supporting Eclipse as well.
I
I think
would,
Eclipse will become like a
yeah, it will become a
step
pattern.
brother.
Zero.
I mean, it has been on a long, like, you know, long way since when it started. I remember using like 0.2,
Yeah.
and it would crash, and it
Yeah.
was,
But it's
it was a
still
mess.
not there now. I mean, I just set up a project just last week, really, just to give it another try. When I started my Android project, we started with this thinking, okay, well, it's going to be 1.0 soon, and we might as well start with that. And we just had so many troubles with it that we gave up, and we went back, well, we didn't go back, we moved over to Eclipse, which was actually fine for me because I've used Eclipse for years, but not for Android development. And so it will eventually be perfect, but at the moment I find that Gradle is really slow. I don't know whether anybody else finds that. That's infuriating for me, so I can't deal with using that. They're going to have to speed that up before I can be happy with using it, to tell you the truth. And yeah, other than that, I mean, it's the same code, it's the same XML files, it's, you know, for me it's no major advance, okay, the build system's a bit better, but I spend 98% of my time in building the developer version, and I run the release build every meeting, release which has been 4 so far, you know, and I've built probably 4,000 times at least, you know. So I don't see the major advantage in it for me as a developer at the moment. I'm sticking to it. What's a bit of a shame at the moment, we're getting like a mishmash of both systems, the Mac and Mac. What's on GitHub, so there's some stuff that's just for Gradle sort of thing, and others that's still just for Eclipse. So, at the time when I started writing the app, which wasn't that long ago, most of the stuff we found was still Eclipse based. I mean, okay, you can use it, it's just it's not quite as easy as checking it out in Eclipse where your project's already made and what have you.
Because maybe Eclipse already used for a long time.
They did a lot of good changes in Eclipse last year. They showed that a lot of changes related to XML writing and stuff. It was amazing, but it's still not there in Android Studio.
And I mean, in terms of building system, another thing is, I mean, the default build system is End, which is pretty Node, and if you don't want to do anything really cool, like anything special with it, it just works. But if you want to tweak it and change the how you build stuff, then it becomes really complicated, and that's when people